Hey everybody, I guess first question, can you hear me? If you can, just drop a little comment there, let me know that you can hear me okay. Hopefully both the voice and the guitar. Adam, so glad you made it, man. Good to have you here. Elias, and something is wrong. Something is wrong. I have a feeling there's a lot right, even though your handle is something is wrong. Anyhow, welcome to the 7th year anniversary live stream of Chords of Orion. It's going to be a little bit of a celebration tonight, so I brought a little celebratory beverage. You may see me take a sip from time to time. Anyhow, yeah, I can hardly believe it. I actually can believe it because a lot of life has happened, but September 18th, 2013 was when I uploaded the first video to the Chords of Orion YouTube channel. Also, I had taken an earlier album that I had done in 2012 and repurposed it and kind of retitled it from my name, Bill Vencil, to Chords of Orion. The name of that album is Line of Despair, and then I kind of used that as the first several videos, just posting songs. Excuse me for a moment. You may hear me cough or sniff a little bit. The pollen, the grass and ragweed pollen around where I am is pretty high right now, and I have a little bit of that seasonal allergy thing going. Anyhow, 7 years. I believe there are currently 684 videos showing if you went to my channel and kind of looked at whatever the count is. But the reality is, if you count live streams and a couple of videos that are out there that are unlisted, there are 701 videos on the Chords of Orion YouTube channel. It's hard to believe. 7 years, about 700 videos. Wow, I can hardly believe it. Anyhow, let's see who else is on. Adam, something wrong. David Jacob, greetings. Kate, greetings. Luis, JJ, Dan White. Hey, Dan, how's it going? Dan's a buddy of mine. Been buddies for a long, long time. Greetings. Christopher Richard, Pooh Ninja, Robbie Rose, greetings, everyone. And Antoine, greetings, sir. Glad to have you along. All right. Anyhow, what I'd like to do on the live stream tonight is I'll share with you some thoughts that I have from being on YouTube for 7 years. I'm also going to do a little bit of playing from time to time. So, can you hear the guitar okay? Big question. Let me know. Drop a comment there and just let me know you heard that. Anyhow, I've got some questions that I ask my YouTube subscribers, my Facebook followers, etc. earlier today, and there's some pretty good questions here. If you all have any questions or comments or topics that you want to discuss while we're gathered together to celebrate, just drop a comment. I'll keep an eye on the chat, and I will try to address topics as we go along. Okay, I'm getting an occasional issue with YouTube. Hopefully it's just momentary. It looks like it's okay. Yeah, Matt, hey, how's it going? It looked like it might have just been jumpy for a minute. YouTube is currently showing good connection. I'm hoping that that is the case. Anyhow, yes, jumpy JJ. Hopefully it'll smooth out. Let me know in a minute if it smooths out or if it stays jumpy. Not sure what to do about it though. Turn down the bit rate. Well, the bit rate is pretty good right now. I guess I could turn it down a little bit. It's normally what I have it set at. Yeah, let me turn the bit rate down just a little bit here. We'll see if that helps. Okay, anyhow, keep me apprised of the situation. Now says excellent connection. Hopefully that's the situation here. Anyhow, okay, looks like we got a couple of one or two questions here. Kate Can Wait says, you were previously in a King Crimson-ish prog rock band. What artist inspired you to go full ambient? Well, I've talked about that before. A number of artists, I would say starting way back in the Stone Age when I was very young. Some of the groups that did kind of ambient-ish kind of music, even as a teenager, like Moody Blues, Pink Floyd, and some other bands like that. Obviously, Brian Eno, some of the other larger ambient artists. Robert Fripp and his Frippertronics. I discovered that when I was about 15 or so. So, yeah, a whole bunch of artists. All right. Let's see. How are you with people posting video responses to how you have inspired us? I'm fine with it. If you say something nice, I'll acknowledge you. If I haven't inspired you, please note that too, and let the crew know who has inspired you, because that's actually really important information, I think, for the community. All right, so 7 years, about 700 videos. What's really been interesting for me, before I get to any more questions, what's really been interesting for me is what that has done to me and for me, and I mean to me in a good way, but to me and for me as a musician, as an artist. I think for me, having the commitment to regularly post content here on YouTube in particular has forced me to really get into a creative groove. And, from time to time for me, that's, it's waxed and waned, I think, as it does for all of us. But knowing that every week I'm going to come up with a video, whether it's music, whether it's a technique, or whether it's something about the gear, has really just been something that's enthused me to keep creating over the last 7 years. I can honestly say in the last 7 years, I've created more music than I have in the entire rest of my life. And that includes that old prog rock band that I played in. So it's been a really great experience. One of the things I want to say right now before I forget is that one of the things I'm most appreciative of is all of you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Just having folks who are interested in what I'm doing, who are like-minded, right? We're all into kind of the same direction in terms of families of genre of music. We're all interested in guitar. It's really awesome having a community of folks that are extremely supportive and also very interested in the same things I'm interested in. So thank you very much. All right, so let's see here. Some questions. Let's see. I'd love to see ambient covers of yours. Any interest on your end? So I've done a few covers on this channel, only a couple. I did a Stairway to Heaven cover recently to try and smear it enough to see if I got a copyright claim, and I apparently succeeded because no problems there. I also did another one like that a while ago, a few years ago, Sweet Home Alabama, in the same way, and I kind of did a walkthrough of how to take a pop song and create a cover of it. I guess you could call them covers, I also do a lot of traditional music. So I'm not creating the tunes or the basic chord structures. And so I'm doing my own arrangements of those. So I guess you could call those covers too. So actually I do quite a bit of covers. Now, if you're talking about more contemporary covers of, I don't know who you might have in mind, I'm not very interested in that. That's not a big thing for me. I do get people asking, hey, could you do a cover of this band or that band? I'd like to see how you did it. But I'm getting a YouTube warning here. Let me know how you guys are doing on your end. Anyhow, not too interested in doing the cover thing. But I really like to create whenever possible, my own music. All right, let's see here. What else we got going on here? What's the magic to growing a beautiful beard? Don't shave? I don't know. I've also recently, I am letting it grow longer. I'm going to see how long it gets before the end of the year, because in my day job, I am not going back into the office until 2021, nor am I seeing clients. By the way, I'm an IT consultant. I'm not seeing clients right now, so I'm just kind of letting it grow out longer than normal. We'll see where we end up. But I think that's the secret. Don't shave. Don't shave. Don't get depressed. Just don't shave. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. What are your plans for the next years? Yeah, that's a great question. I would like to talk about that a little bit. So the first thing I'd like to announce is that October 20th, so this will be into the 8th year, October 20th, my next full-length album is releasing, and that'll be here on YouTube and on Bandcamp, Spotify, all the places. And the name of that album will be Anodyne. Anodyne can be an adjective or a noun. I'm using it in the sense of a noun. And in that sense, it means painkiller. And you'll hear more about this in the weeks, the next few weeks or so. But the songs are typically longer than the last couple of albums. As a matter of fact, one of the songs on that album is 31 minutes long. Another one is 23 minutes long. I'm really excited to get that out so everybody can hear it and hopefully enjoy it. What else? I think also, obviously, YouTube is going to continue. I'm still super excited about what's going on here. I am doing some planning. I've said that more than once, but I'm continuing to do some planning about how to structure the content on the channel. There may be some minor tweaks and shifts here and there. Obviously, ambient guitar is always what Chords of Orion is going to be all about. But, just after, I've shifted things over the last 7 years. I'll continue to shift as we go along. And we'll see what happens. The fall is going to be some planning time for me for 2021. So we'll kind of see what happens. Let's see. What else do we have? Lupe says, greetings from Mexico. Greetings, sir. Do you know if any other looper has decay options like the Ditto X4? I don't know. I don't know if the Pigtronics looper does, or I'm not really sure if any of the Boss, the Roland loopers do. You'll probably just kind of have to check the user manuals and kind of check the features. But I think it's a great thing to have in a looper, the ability to decay your loops. Let's see, what else do we have going on? So we've got LG Dubois saying that I've been an inspiration. Well, thank you for letting me know that, and that you're also posting Native American flute. Oh, that's awesome. And an ambient guitar video. Keep it up, for sure. Let's see. Greetings from Chile. For atmospheric tones, do you prefer a baritone scale guitar? That's a great question. This is not a baritone scale. This is the Jamstick Studio MIDI guitar, and it's a standard scale. But for solo guitar, I do, over the last 5 or 6 years in particular, I've come to really enjoy playing baritone for solo guitar. If I was playing in a band again and with ambient guitar tones and textures, I would probably play a standard guitar a lot more often to stay out of the way of the bass. Having a higher pitched part, I think, would probably work better in a lot of cases. Let's see. Started playing. Hey, Mark Satterwhite. Okay, you started playing ambient guitar because I found your channel. Oh, that's great. And you're a long-time player too, 56 years, so that's awesome. You've been playing longer than me, buddy, which is a great thing. Hopefully it's been a real blessing and a joy in your life to be playing guitar for that amount of time. What have your experiences been like playing ambient live for an audience? What sort of venues would you consider playing at? That's a great question, and that's actually related to one of the YouTube questions that I got earlier today, or maybe a Facebook question. I've only done one official live gig as Chords of Orion, and that was at an electronic music festival, and that worked out really well, right? Because everyone was doing avant-garde, experimental, ambient styles of music anyhow. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be playing live, certainly not now, but when things are back to normal, it's what kind of venues would I consider playing at? I would consider playing at any venue that was interested in hosting ambient musicians, right? So you don't want to go to a club or a bar, for example, that really focuses on country music, as an example. Nothing wrong with country music, but the audience that normally is going to frequent that venue is probably not going to appreciate ambient styles of music. So I think you want to find a venue that is already friendly to the type of music that you're doing. All right, let's see here. Any ideas for playing ambient guitar at a church setting? This is from Declan Colleen. I've talked about this a few times. I don't have too many ideas. I've mentioned this before. I do play guitar at my church, not lately, since the COVID thing hit, but when I did, and when I will, hopefully in the future, it's all standard acoustic guitar, either flat-picked or finger style. And I don't know. I don't have any ideas. The stream of Christian faith that I come from tends to focus more on traditional hymns and simple arrangements that focus on congregational singing. So I would say, although if your church is amenable to ambient styles of music, don't go too nuts with it. Stay in the background, right? It's ambient, so it should be in the background. Let's see here. Robin Guthrie, God or just minor demigod? He's a great musician. There's only a couple musicians that I would say approach deity, and one of them would be Alan Holdsworth, may he rest in peace. I'm highly biased now to Mr. Holdsworth. Okay, let's see. Yosef says, I would love to buy my first delay or reverb pedal. What would you recommend? I'm not going to make a specific recommendation. I don't know what you want your delay or reverb pedal to do. And I think that is what you need to do. Figure out, first of all, what is your budget? How much money do you have to spend? And then what kind of features are you looking for? For example, if you're looking for a very long delay time, you want to make sure that you check out the specs on the delay pedal to make sure it will go as long as you want it to go. Same with reverbs. What are you looking for? A lot of people want specific styles or types of reverbs. So you'll need to think about that for sure. Okay. What kind of alternative tunings are the best for eternal? It's probably ethereal dream sounds. And what's your favorite alternative tuning? So in standard guitar, I usually stay in standard tuning, and I don't have a capo handy. And if I want an alternative tuning, I'll use a split or a partial capo, which will give me a dadgad kind of tuning. Speaking of true alternative tunings, dadgad, D-A-D-G-A-D, is one that I use a lot. And then the other one that I use a lot is C, G, D, G, A, D. So it's like dadgad, but the 5th and 6th strings go down to to C and G. So C, G, D, G, A, D, if I didn't say that correctly the first time. I think any tuning that you like could be a great tuning for ambient ethereal guitar, because it's not the tuning, it's you as the musician and how you play and what your vision is that makes it ethereal and ambient. Somebody's asking if I checked out Vinnie Riley Durutti Kama. I don't remember if I did or not. To be honest, I get a lot of people that send me notes asking me to check out different types of music, and I don't always do it just because of time. So I may or may not have checked that out. I can't really say. Hey, Mike Gurley. So glad found your channel 3 years ago. Your music has a very spiritual feel. Do you feel spirituality has a big impact on your music? And Mike, you're one of the comments earlier from, I think, my Facebook page. So yes, although Chords of Orion is not meant to be and never will be a religious YouTube channel, nor will Chords of Orion be distinctly religious music, right? I would definitely say my faith, because it's a big part of my life, affects everything in my life. So I would include art, the art that I produce in that sense. And real briefly, again, I don't want this to be like some religious live stream or something like that, but if you can bear with me for just a moment, again, I think you guys know that I come from a traditional Christian perspective, so I believe we were created in the image of God. So because of that, we have this wonderful gift of creativity. And for me, that's one of the main motivations to get out there and create music, knowing that I was created to create. Does that make sense? And whether you come from that perspective or not, hopefully we can all agree that humans have this wonderful capability of creativity. And what a great gift it is that we can all exercise it. Hey, Antoine. Antoine Michaud, by the way, if you haven't checked his channel out, he's a fellow ambient guitarist, so Antoine will give you a shout out there. Definitely check his channel out. He's in the chat there. Congratulations on 7 years. Thanks, Antoine. What is my favorite type of video to make on your channel? Music, tutorials, or demos? That's a good question. I would say my favorite is to sit down and play music. I love playing music, and to be quite honest, for me, they're the easiest types of videos to create and produce. But I also, obviously, I enjoy doing the more tutorial-related ones and the gear-related ones. On the gear-related ones, I think I've said this before, I want to do gear demos and reviews and stuff like that because I want to put that out there to be of value for the community here, because I know we're all kind of thinking similar things, right? Like, what kind of gear can really help me achieve the tones I'm looking for? So I love being able to share that with the community, but I don't want to be one of those channels that just does gear videos. And you know who I'm talking about. And actually, they provide a great service, the guys that do it really well. But I don't want to be one of those guys. I always want to stay close to the music. That's one of my goals as Chords of Orion. Thanks, Antoine. You rock, by the way. Okay. Is it okay to... Declan says, is it okay to put reverb on bass? Heck yeah. Now, the one thing I would say is think about your ensemble. Are you playing in a band with drums, 2 guitars, keyboards, and multiple singers. Well, you may not want to put a lot of reverb on your bass, right? You want to keep the ensemble sound in your mind as you're determining how to set your bass up. But reverb on bass, yeah, for sure. Can you make some dreamy stuff? You can. Oh, I'm sorry. Asha Mael, forgive me for mispronouncing that, says you can make dreamy stuff with ambient bass. Yes, you can. Totally agree. Okay, let's see. What are other genres of music that I like to listen to? Jazz, classical, bluegrass. Yes, classic rock and roll. Yeah, I'm old like that, right? Fingerstyle guitar. I love fingerstyle folk, both kind of modern and folk styles of guitars. So I like a lot of different types of music. Have to be honest, I respect a lot of the heavier styles of rock music, the musicians for their capabilities and their talents on the instrument, but those aren't typically styles that I go to just for casual listening, if that makes sense. But I totally respect the styles, though. I think some of the metal musicians are just fabulous players, truly fabulous. Okay, let's see here. Oh, Enrique said, my 3-week daughter fell asleep and happy today listening to one of my tunes. Oh, that is awesome. That is really awesome. One of my daughters said that one of my granddaughters did the same thing. And yes, I have some grandchildren. All right, let me go to some Facebook questions. Keep the questions coming here, but let me run through a couple here. David Lineweber from Facebook says, what are my thoughts on the future of guitar, America, the universe, etc., especially music and guitar, where it's heading in America in the future would be a good discussion. Yeah, so I'm hoping you mean guitar in America and not the political situation in America. I'll refer you to some other YouTube channel for that. But guitar in America, I think we're due for a little bit of a resurgence, I hope, in terms of people being really interested in being technically good on their instruments. I think that's happening in some areas now of modern American music, but not in all areas. I just mentioned metal, some of the metal styles. The players are really interested in honing their techniques for that particular style of music, and I applaud that. What I would like to see is some more interest in that same honing of technique in some other subgenres of popular and rock music. So that, I don't know. I don't know if that's where we're headed. That's where I'd like to see us head. So as long as people are picking up the instrument and learning how to play it, I think there's always a future for guitar in America. But yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Yeah, I already kind of answered that one. Okay. Something I would be... So Stephen Kish asks something... I'll come back to you guys on the stream in just a sec here. Stephen Kish says, something I would be interested in learning about is layering and overdubs with ambient guitar. How do you achieve multiple tracks of material when so much of it takes up so much of the sonic real estate? Yeah, that's a great question. I've covered this some on the channel in some of the videos, but I think part of it is really thinking a couple things. One is where does your guitar part or your synthesizer part, where does it lay in the pitch spectrum, right? So if all of your instruments, all of your parts are down in the dungeon, for example, if they're all very low pitched, it's going to be very difficult to create space for all of those instruments. Also, if you're a solo musician like me, and maybe you've just got one guitar part, but it's drenched in reverb and delay, you may find that you actually need less than you think you need for a recording. And I'll tell you one of my dirty secrets. It's not really a dirty secret, but we talk about reverb pedals a lot here on the channel. I do anyhow. And the reality is, a lot of times when I record music, I take the reverb pedal out of the signal chain and I record the part with only a delay pedal. And then in the mixdown, I'll add in reverb. And that way, I've got more flexibility to get the balance right. And maybe I need to EQ the reverb or whatever to make sure that it sits properly in the mix. All right, let's go back here to the stream. Enrique says, if music could be turned into matter as you play it, what kind of matter would emerge from your guitar? Oh, I would say two things. One is air or vapor, and the other is star constellations. Right. Chords of Orion. Yeah, sorry. I'm a dad. It's a dad joke. Michael Hedges, JJ. Thank you for mentioning Michael Hedges. I love me some Michael Hedges. Antoine says, do you plan on focusing even more on your channel after retirement? What are your plans long term? We want to make sure you're going to stick around. What do you mean retirement? I'm not telling anybody when I retire. So, I don't know what my plans for retirement are. I mean, you guys know I'm not young. Look at my beard. And you know how long I've been playing music. But ideally, what I would love to do whenever that day comes, and I don't know when that is yet. I still have 2 daughters in college and, a lot of stuff going on that I need a full-time gig for. But my plan is, as long as I'm healthy and as long as I can hear, I'm going to keep playing music. Absolutely. And I hope you guys feel the same way about what you're doing, wherever you are in life. Guys and gals, if there's gals on here too, guys and gals, this is a long-term calling that each one of us has. Never forget that. If you're a musician, that is a true calling in your life. And always, always, always do it and never, never stop. That's what I think. How's that, Antoine? I hope you think that way too. All right. Do I use strap locks? I should sometimes, but I don't. But if I was playing out a lot at this point in my life, yeah, I would use strap locks. Aren't stars dust? Ooh, that's a good point. So maybe it's vapor and dust that are going to come out of my music. Good point, Renee. In my opinion, this is from Robbie Rose. What, in your opinion, is the biggest snake oil in guitar gear? Ooh, biggest snake oil. This is going to sound radical, given me. I think the biggest snake oil in guitar gear are effects. Effect pedals and other types of effects that you can add in a recording. Now, that might sound pretty radical, but here's what I think about that. The reason why I think, sorry, I'm getting a little redundant here. The reason why I think they're snake oil is because effects will not make you a good musician. The only thing that will make you a good musician is mastering your instrument and getting a vision for your art. Those are the 2 most important things. Absolutely the 2 most important things. Everything else is secondary. So hopefully that makes sense. There probably are some other individual things that are snake oil, but I don't want to badmouth any specific companies or products on this live stream. I need to hustle on Twitch. I've thought about that, but I don't think I have time. I got, yeah. Do I plan to try out the new Strymon Night Sky from Mark Satterwhite? Yeah, sorry, Mark. I should have pulled my monitor a little bit closer to my eyes. Yes, as a matter of fact, I've been in contact with Strymon, and they shipped out a demo unit today to me. So I am totally excited about that. I did not hear about the Night Sky until the public announcement. So I immediately emailed my contact at Strymon and whined at him. Hopefully it didn't whine too much, but I asked him very nicely if they had a demo unit that they could send me, and they very kindly, Strymon are awesome, they very kindly said, yes, we can. So yeah, you expect that to show up at some point. I'm pretty excited about trying it out. Now, is the Night Sky going to make your music better? Remember, that could be snake oil for you. Spend an extra half an hour practicing. It'll do you good. All right. How to make your guitar tones sound huge in the mix? Well, that's a loaded question. Aaron, give me a little bit more context further down in the comments, in a band setting or in a solo setting. Well, let me know what you think. All right, let's see. Do I have a strategy to prevent overcomplicating tracks? Yes. This is Quetzalcoatl Somnium. Again, sorry for the mispronunciation. Strategy to prevent overcomplicating. And I would add onto this a strategy for being able to actually finish something, right? So if we let things get overcomplicated, then we might end up in a position where we never finish a track or an EP or an album or a YouTube video for that matter. So what I like to do is put guardrails. I like to put limitations around whatever I'm doing. So my album Vision, which came along in 2014, that was the first official Chords of Orion album. Before that album, it always took me many, many, many months, even years, to get enough recordings together to put out an album. And because of that, I only did like 2 in 10 years or something like that. For Vision, I decided that I was going to put some limitations. I was going to put everything I did into a box. And the goal was to finish off the album in 10 weeks. So what I did was I gave myself some rules. There will only be a couple tracks on each recording, and one acoustic guitar, one electric guitar, and an optional drone track. And then I wasn't going to try to write any new music. I was going to use all public domain old folk tunes. And when I put those limitations around my project, I actually did get it done in 10 weeks. It taught me a lot. So every time I do something now, I put limitations around whatever the project is. I make sure that I've got a box around it so I don't stray outside of it and get off the topic, so to speak, right? Okay. Mini flashback. Sure. Mini flashback's good. Why would you want to simplify the... Oh, okay. Well, I already answered that. Okay. Carlos says, hey, Bill, what would be, in your opinion, the best combo amp for ambient guitar? Do you use any? I do not. I own 3 or 4 amplifiers right now. I own 3 tube amplifiers and 1 solid state amp. It's the old Crate Power Block, which is actually pretty cool. But I do not use any of them. I have totally converted to amp modelers. I much prefer them at this point in my life for many different reasons. I've got a couple videos about that. But if I were to pick an amplifier, it would be a Fender, probably a Fender style amp. I've always been a big fan of the Fender Deluxe Reverb. So anything off in that direction for me would be a good choice for actually any of the types of music I've ever done. Even back in my old prog rock days, that's what I played, a Fender Deluxe. And that was early 70s. It's probably worth a little bit of money now if I still had it. Dang, shouldn't have sold it. Let's see. Have I ever heard of Bruce Cockburn? JJ asked. Heck yeah. I've seen Bruce Cockburn many, many times in the past. I have probably 20 Bruce Cockburn CDs on my shelf in my living room. I've been a longtime fan of Bruce, for sure. All right, let's go to a little bit of music here for a minute. I feel like playing. I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to play in E minor. Is that cool? Here we go. By the way, if you're interested, the delay pedal for that sound is the TC Electronic Flashback Triple Delay, and the reverb you hear is the Strymon Big Sky, and I believe it's set to the swell type of reverb. I'm not sitting close to the pedals, so I can't tell you exactly what the settings are, but obviously it's kind of a dotted eighth tap tempo kind of deal. All right, let's see. I'm going to do a couple of more questions that came in earlier today in case someone's on the live stream. How to use EQ on channels with huge hall reverbs. Yeah, so the one of the things I like about using reverbs in the mix as a plug-in is that many of them have equalizers built in. And so I think it's a matter of, after you get the basic sound you're looking for, dialing in, listening to where your guitar tone sits, and then dialing in the reverb, maybe pulling down some of the major frequency ranges where the notes of your guitar sit. And that way it allows the reverb to kind of bloom, but not totally fill up the sonic space. EQ is really important when you're thinking about different types of effects and textures going on, even with a solo guitar. You want to think about, what is thick, what is thin, what is more emphasizes treble, what more emphasizes bass, so that you get a balance across the tone, across the tonal range of what you're playing. Let's see. Am I still using the 11 rack? It is in my rack next to where I'm sitting right now, but I have not turned it on now for probably 4 or 5 months. I do expect that I will continue to use it from time to time because I do still really like the sound. But the two modelers that I've been using the most for the last year or so, and I've used more than these, but by and large, have been the Headrush pedalboard, which is kind of the successor to the amp modeling that's in the 11 rack. And then also the Strymon Iridium, which gets it's a fabulous, in my opinion, a fabulous sounding amp modeler, and it fits in really well with the way I like to use other pedals. But I'm not giving up on the 11 rack; it's still there. Did I write the songs with my band Tetelestai, which was the old school prog rock band? Yes. I wrote songs, and so did the bass/Chapman stick player. So between the two of us, we wrote most of the music for the songs that had lyrics, which actually were most of them. One of our friends who was part of the band was kind of the main lyricist. We also had an artist who was not a musician, and he painted set backdrops, created costumes and set props, and he did dramatic readings during our sets, because not only was it progressive rock, but we did kind of an art rock multimedia show when we played. Yeah. Some of it worked really well. Some of it flopped really badly on stage, but it was fun. Let's see. All right. What's my thoughts on Axe Effects? I have never played one. I would like to try one sometime. And if I ever do, I will tell you what I think about it. All right. Let's see, a couple more questions. John Smith. I don't know if you're on, John. Congrats, I recently picked up a little Alligator. That's a volume pedal. It's Morley. They no longer make them, by the way. And he mentioned that the foot treadle started squeaking. Any advice on what to use to lubricate it? Well, my little Alligator is about 15 or 16 years old, and about 6 or 7 years ago, it started squeaking a little bit, so I just squirted a little WD-40 on it, and that did the trick. And no, this video is not sponsored by WD-40. Let's see. I don't know if Natasha was on. This is somewhat related. To an earlier question, do I think there is demand on the part of audiences for live ambient music? Or is the ambient genre mostly relegated to recording and home listening environments? I think there's probably a limited live audience for ambient music. There is a place in Philadelphia that focuses on experimental and ambient music. It's probably about a 4-hour drive from me. I sometimes think about just going up there to check it out and meet some people up there. But there are some pockets. I don't think there's probably an audience for large-scale tours of ambient music. I mean, real, true ambient music. If you include bands like Sigur Rós, which have ambient textures but are more what I would call post-rock oriented, obviously then your audience size goes way up, right? But for pure ambient music, I think it's going to be pretty small. Maybe house concerts. I think Andy Othling, right, Lowercase Noises, he's done several tours of house concerts, and I've seen comments and heard him even speak about them very positively. I think they were pretty good experiences for him. So, yeah, maybe there's a market for that. What's the nicest reverb pedal I've ever used? By Alex Jack asked that. Well, Alex, that's a hard question. I think the reverb pedal that is the most dreamy and heavenly for me is the New Neighbor Immerse, and it's specifically the hall reverb type. I love, love, love the New Neighbor Immerse hall reverb type. However, I've played some other very fabulous reverbs. So, yeah, that's a hard question. Okay, let me see what else we have. Have I tried the Old Blood Noise Endeavor Minim or Reverb? No, I have not. I have never played an Old Blood Noise pedal. So that's something I need to get around to at some point. All right, let's see. There was a couple of other good ones here. Okay, Glenn asked, any ideas on how to keep a positive vibe in the sound of ambient music? I tend to find myself in a minor, somewhat somber vibe a lot with my music, which is strange because I'm a pretty upbeat and energetic guy. Haha. So I guess how to convey emotion with instrumental music. Yeah. So here's, again, Glenn, I don't know if you're on the live stream, but I guess my question to you is, why have you thought about why you gravitate towards somber, minor key music? What does it do for you as a person? Is that an outlet for maybe frustration or maybe the sadness of the world? There's a lot of sadness in our world, isn't there? Maybe it is what is part of what is actually inside of you, and that's what's coming out. When you think about music, even instrumental music, speaks. I am a big believer that music is not just emotion. I've seen that a lot, even from people who are highly trained in music. They refer to music producing emotion, and it does do that. But I think music speaks. It's nonverbal communication, instrumental music. It's nonverbal communication, and I don't believe it's possible for us to put words to it. But when I'm playing for you, I'm speaking to you. I just spoke to you. I said something to you. I can't verbalize it. I don't want to verbalize it, but I just told you something. And every time we play music, in particular when we play music that others hear, we're speaking to them. So I think, getting back to Glenn's question, is it such a bad thing that it's minor or somber? You're speaking something to the people who are listening to your music. So I think that's an important thing to be mindful of. Always knowing that you're speaking, and I think speaking deeply to your listeners. Does that sound too woo-woo? I don't know, but I believe that firmly. I think that's part of the art. Okay, let's go back to the stream. Have I used Tone Live GFX? No, I have not. I'm not even sure what that is. The Bear Without Name says, speaking of music that speaks, today is the anniversary of Jimi Hendrix passing. Thank you for helping keep meaningful music alive. Well, I appreciate that compliment very much. And that is interesting. I didn't know that today is the anniversary of Jimi Hendrix's death. He was a man that spoke very profoundly, I think, with every note he played. Obviously, he spoke with his voice also. But if you listen to Hendrix, you can hear him speaking in every note on every song. And think about your favorite musician, whether they're singing or playing. They're speaking to you, and they're speaking deeply to you, which is part of the reason why you enjoy their music. Again, that's my feeling on the matter. Kate Can Wait asks, how do you deal with not repeating yourself musically? I spent 10 years making ambient music, and eventually I felt I had already peaked and made my best work. I was just retreading old ground. Yeah, that's a great question. I think that from time to time also. And if you listen here on the channel, you will hear me play certain phrases and certain parts of pieces and repeat them. Some of that's for convenience here on the channel, but I am aware of that too. And sometimes I think, man, I need to stop playing that. That's getting old. I think, so a couple things to avoid not repeating is to do a couple things. One is, if you're listening to the same type of music or perhaps the same group of bands, put them down for a while. Because what's going on subconsciously is that's creeping into your brain and pushing you into a particular direction. I try to do that a lot. You know, if I find myself listening to a band or a musician a lot, I'll allow myself to enjoy it. And then after a while, I say, okay, they're awesome. I'm going to keep supporting them, but I'm going to put them down for a little bit and freshen my musical landscape, if you will. And then I think also maybe listening to music that you've not listened to before. So, for example, if you've never really gotten into jazz, spend some time in jazz. You will definitely hear different things. And then work on emulating that. Even if you don't do formal training for jazz, I'm just using jazz as an example, by the way. Even if you don't do formal training on jazz, try and emulate it a little bit. Even if you don't get it down right, you might find yourself learning some new techniques and phrasing aspects that you've never done before, which could enliven your music. And then I'm going to go the kind of the Joni Mitchell route and say experiment with alternate tunings. I think that's a great way to kind of refresh your view on tonality, certainly refresh your view on where your fingers go on the fretboard, and think about chord inversions and all that good stuff. So those are a couple of my thoughts. Gerald Grafalo, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. And I appreciate your support very much. Stream problems. Yeah, I'm getting some stream issues too. I don't know what's going on. It's been pretty good, I think, for the most part. Okay, let me do just a couple of more questions here, and then I'm going to sign off, I think, for the evening. I just want to make sure. Oh, I might have hit all the questions. So anyhow, let's see how we're looking here. Oh, it looks like the bit rate came back. Okay, so I'll answer a couple more questions, and then I'm going to play for a minute or two, and then we'll probably call it good for this celebration of 7 years on YouTube and 7 years of Chords of Orion. So Michael says, what kind of strings do I use? So for acoustic guitar, I really love the Elixir Phosphor Bronze. I normally use medium gauge on my acoustic guitars. On standard electric guitar, I use Elixir, just the regular Elixir strings 10 to 46, so regular light gauge. On my baritone guitars, I use, depends on the baritone. On the Telecaster baritone, I generally use the Elixir baritone set, and I replace the unwound third string with a wound string. I don't like the unwound third string on a baritone. And then on the other baritones, I typically use the D'Addario baritone set. Is it XL 157, I think it is. So, and then acoustic baritone is, again, Elixir baritone strings. Let's see, what else do we have here? Do I use a whammy bar when you play? Not when I play, not very often. The only guitar I own currently with a whammy bar is my old 1964 Fender Mustang, and I don't play that a whole lot. I get it out every now and then for a lark. I had it here on the channel recently, and even then I don't use the whammy bar a lot. I normally use it just to accent a note or two. I tend to prefer not having the whammy bar. For me, it's a distraction. That doesn't mean they're not good, by the way. I'm just speaking for me personally. All right, so let me go ahead and play a little bit more, and then we'll close this thing out here. Oh, I might still be in a minor key. There we go. Right. Any last minute questions? Compressor, Wade. I always use a compressor. I've got some videos for that, and I think you should always use a compressor too. All right, guys. Compensated nut. I don't use a compensated nut. I use whatever comes with the guitar. Anyhow, guys, thank you again so much for all the support over the years. I'm looking forward to year number 8. Again, I will have more information about the new album coming in the coming weeks, but look for that to release on October 20th. I do have that as a confirmed date from all of the Spotify's and Amazon's and all that stuff. So Anodyne, again, is the name, and I'm excited to be able to share that with you. Also, yeah, be checking, looking out for that Night Sky demo here at some point after that comes in. And later on this fall, I'm hoping there'll be another guitar coming along. We'll see. It's on back order. I won't tell you what it is now, but it's long scale and it's red. So we'll see what that's all about if it comes in. Anyhow, I hope everybody has a good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I am looking forward to seeing all of you on the next video. See y'all later.